Children as young as 12 years old arrested in a string of dozens of robberies across Oakland.
And what we have seen in the recent weeks and months has been disheartening.
Tonight, the teens determined to take a better path and the local group determined to help them.
A part of our work is understanding that why, is understanding the nuance behind violence.
The A's, they clear another hurdle in their efforts to leave Oakland.
For them to abandon a city that had supported them when they were trash for decades.
But one superfan who suffered blow after blow is still optimistic that one day he'll root for another pro sports team in Oakland. And why some college grads may be facing a tougher time making the jump to the job market.
I'm looking for jobs right now. I know it's like peak season for graduates.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Talk about all hands on deck in Oakland to curb a troubling rise in robberies, and many of the suspects are children. Police say they've responded to 100 robberies across the city in 1 week alone, and they've just made some eye-raising arrests. Get this, 9 juveniles ranging in age from 17 to just 12 years old. They're suspected of pulling off nearly 3 dozen of those crimes. Mayor Sheng Tao says this is just one example of why violence prevention services are so key.
A lot of these young people, there is a reason, there is the root cause that we always talk about why someone is what we would think choose a life of crime. No one would actually openly, willingly, I believe in my heart, will choose a life of crime. So we have to get to those root causes. On the same token, we have to have consequences.
Now, there are some community programs already up and running to keep kids out of trouble. Our Jose Martinez has more on the impact that they have made.
It was definitely an interesting day here at Youth Alive, where a group of students gather to actually get ready to talk about the work they do as part of a violence prevention program that supports hundreds of students here in Oakland.
Oh, she's calling me, huh?
Meet Sierra Taylor, a passionate 17-year-old student who believes in creating a brighter future for Oakland.
There's a lot more to this world than just what we see around our community, than just the drug deals and the shootings and getting into gangs, being affiliated with that stuff. Just because our cousins or brothers are a part of it don't mean we're boring and born into the life. We don't have to be like that.
She's one of many young individuals who have found a sense of purpose through Youth Alive. The organization focuses on prevention, intervention, healing, and support to combat violence.
We start talking about root causes of violence, things like poverty, easy access to guns, drugs, and alcohol, fear, and how all that ties into violence. And I became really passionate about it. I was like, this is something I wouldn't mind looking more into. Dr. Joseph Griffin is the executive director of this organization. He says the work they do is extremely important these days.
Our focus really is to hold both our young people in the moment when they're experiencing the trauma, but also through our peer education programs like Teens on Target, through our outreach in communities, through our violence interrupted programs, through Calling the Crossfire, our hospital-based violence intervention program. We're also walking with people from that moment of trauma through their healing process, making sure that there isn't retaliation on their behalf.
Especially after, once again, authorities in Oakland say there has been a surge in violent incidents involving Bay Area youth. Recently, at least 9 adolescents and teens were arrested in connection with a series of robberies and other crimes, including the assault of a 63-year-old woman.
And a part of our work is understanding that why, is understanding the nuance behind violence, understanding that violence isn't just happening in this moment in Oakland, that for many of our communities, this violence has been intergenerational.
Dr. Griffin says that in the last 5 months alone, over 100 students have become violence prevention ambassadors, just like Sierra, who continues to encourage other students to join the cause. And Sierra tells me she hopes these conversations can actually help more students find a different purpose for their lives.
Great outlook there. Jose, thank you. The mayor also tells us the city has reinvested in foot patrols and the traffic division and is also partnering with the CHP and other outside agencies for extra support. Meanwhile, California First partner Jennifer Siebel Newsom says big tech is to blame for the dangers social media is posing to young people. Now, she points to a recent CDC report showing 30% of teen girls have seriously considered taking their own lives. That is a 60% increase from a decade ago.
Big tech and big money is prioritizing their own pocketbooks at the expense of our children's mental health and well-being.
It's kind of like a fake reality that people portray on social media, which causes people to maybe feel worse about themselves.
Some of the changes that they want to see: better online safeguards, expanded media literacy programs, and an investment in diverse young women as tech leaders and creators. All right, we are learning more about the suspected carjacker accused of leading San Francisco police on that deadly chase that ended in a deadly crash. He has been identified as 57-year-old Carlo Watson. One person was killed and 4 others were hurt when the stolen truck police say he was driving crashed into a bus stop in Potrero Hill. Watson is now facing several charges, including carjacking, murder, vehicular manslaughter, and driving without a license. San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan unveiled a $50 million proposal that aims to get encampments and RVs off the streets and the people living in them into emergency housing. So the plan also calls for staffed, safe parking spots.
We're piecing together Measure E dollars, inclusionary fund dollars, and some ending fund balance dollars over the next 2 years to be able to get to $50 million for each priority.
There could be an additional $50 million for new affordable housing projects as well. And it appears another retailer has left San Francisco's Westfield Mall on Market Street. The Chronicle reporting that Banana Republic closed its storefront there for the final time today. But they did not cite crime as a main reason, rather lower foot traffic at the mall. And parent company Gap's plan to close 30% of all Gap and Banana Republic locations across the country. Any hope for the A's staying in Oakland may be quickly fading. The governor of Nevada today announcing a tentative deal with the team to fund a new ballpark in Las Vegas. So the $1.5 billion stadium would be built on the site of the Tropicana Hotel, which is set to be demolished. Up to 25% of those costs would come from taxpayer money. Nevada lawmakers still have to approve the deal. But for diehard A's fans, this is all a very tough pill to swallow. Our Kelsey Thord introduces us to one super fan who's coping with the loss of a third home team in less than 5 years.
David Peters, better known as Bleacher Dave, has watched in anguish in recent years as all 3 of his beloved Oakland sports teams announced they were leaving.
For them to abandon a city that had supported them when they were trash for decades, it hurt, man. There's just no other way to talk about it. But it was more than pain. It was betrayal.
Dave's fandom began as a kid back in the 70s when his family started taking him to Oakland A's games.
And I remember because Vida Blue was riding around the field in a blue drop-top Cadillac.
Dave says that experience turned him into a die-hard A's fan, which then quickly morphed into him becoming a full-blown A's, Raiders, Warriors fanatic.
I picked this up at an auction. It's Shane Leckler, signed football.
For decades, Dave lived the dream, practically going to at least one Warriors, Raiders, or A's game a week year-round. But suddenly, that dream came crashing down. In 2019, the Warriors moved to San Francisco, and then the following year, the Raiders left for Vegas. Dave told me he couldn't believe it.
Just talk about ripping your heart out and turning your inside out.
Since then, all Dave's had to rely on is his favorite A's. But then earlier this year, heartbreak, as they too announced they would be leaving, following in the Raiders' footsteps to a new home in Las Vegas.
I think I was numb. And it wasn't until I went to watch an away game with a bunch of friends from the Coliseum that it really hit me.
Now, in the span of just 5 years, Dave is staring down a future where none of his beloved teams will be in his city anymore. He told me he's sad for himself, but more importantly for the generations of young Oakland sports fans who will most likely never get to experience what he did.
Imitating, the batting stances of my favorite players, or, smacking the glove, like pretending like we were Campy Campaneers is going to be lost.
But Dave says that unique Oakland fandom will not end just because their teams are all leaving. He's hopeful a new team or two will come into the city soon, and no matter what sport they play, he says you can count on seeing Bleacher Dave in those stands.
We need Bleacher Dave. All right, although the future of the Coliseum is still uncertain without the A's, there has been talk of bringing in a WNBA team and even possibly Oakland's soccer team, the Roots. And UC Berkeley has another #1 ranking, but it earned it overseas. And we've had an historic winter, and now there are new predictions from scientists about what our summer may look like. Paul.
Yeah, Memorial Day typically marks the unofficial beginning of summer. Still feels like early to mid-spring with temperatures only in the 60s and 70s across most of the Bay Area. The cooler than average temperatures continue. It's just a matter of how far below average. Details coming up in the First Alert forecast.